What's happening, guys? Today, should you track when you're eating out? And if so, how do you do it? Okay, this is something that I know a lot of people struggle with. They really have a hard time with eating out and feeling like they can stick to their plan, understanding like how much they're eating. They don't understand like what's in the food they eat and how to track it, and it just becomes a really difficult and frustrating experience. So I want to talk about some ways that we can kind of take some of the stress out of it and how you can implement it into your routine and understand that you can still go out and see results and not feel like you just have to like totally go crazy just because you're not really sure what's in the food that you're eating. And I think that's probably the number one problem that people have is they don't know what they're eating. They don't know how many calories are in it, the exact macros, so they feel like, well, if I don't know, then I might as well just say screw it and eat whatever I want, and then we'll worry about getting back on track tomorrow. This is not what you want to do. This is not the type of behavior that's going to lead you to much success. Or you don't want to have blowouts just because you don't know. And I think that's really the number one thing that you can do to make improvements in this and still stay relatively on track and go out and eat and have a good time. And that is just pick something that you think could be close. Don't worry about it being perfect or not, and just be okay with it and roll with it as if it was perfect. So a lot of restaurants nowadays actually have nutrition available online. So if that's the case, obviously you can go in there, you can look it up, pick something that makes the most sense for you, and just roll with it and be good with it. Not all restaurants have this though, but if they don't have it, just roll with something from a restaurant that does something that's similar, right? So you can probably find something that is at least somewhat close to what you're eating at the restaurant that you're at, and just pick it and roll with it. Again, it's just about getting in the ballpark. It's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect anyways. Like, for one, there's literally no such thing as perfection with macros. Like, even on nutrition labels, there can be up to a 20% error on the actual label itself, even with prepackaged food. So there's literally no such thing as perfection. But the other thing you have to understand is too, like, the food that you're getting at a restaurant, even if there's nutrition available, it's not going to be that accurate. Let's just be honest. It's not like the cooks are back there measuring out your butter and your oils and your rice and French fries or whatever else it is you're having. They're just throwing it together and trying to make it taste good and serving it. They're not worried about specific perfect portion sizes, right? So there's literally going to be no such thing as perfection. You're just trying to get in the ballpark, and that's the biggest thing. Like, if you can just mentally be okay with that and just roll with it, it's going to make all the difference in the world. And just understand that if it's a few hundred calories off, at the end of the day, it's not going to make that big of a difference. You don't have to be that perfect to see results. It doesn't work that way. So will it be perfect? Will it be spot on? Absolutely not. But if you just roll with it like it is and just treat the rest of your day like you normally would, that's going to keep you really close, and that's going to keep you in a good spot, and it's going to keep things from getting out of hand. And that's the biggest thing that we want to do, is avoid getting into situations where you just feel like it's too hard, you don't know what to do, you're a little bit lost, so you just say totally screw it and go a little bit too nuts, and that's when things can kind of add up a little bit. But even then, even if you do that one time, don't beat yourself up, right? Just get back on track. Don't starve yourself the next day. We just got to move forward and create that healthy relationship with food. That's the biggest thing, because trust me, beating yourself up is going to do way more damage than any amount of food that you can eat in one day, right? That's when things really trickle and turn into a huge ordeal that we want to avoid. Now, as far as does it make sense for you to track? Do you always have to track? No, not necessarily. And it really kind of depends on your unique situation, your preferences, what kind of a phase you're in, all these types of things. So like, if you're someone who's in a deep cut and calories are really low, then you're gonna have to be pretty careful, right? You're gonna have to maybe customize your orders. And you can always do that. Like, you can always say, like, anywhere you go, you can pretty much order a chicken breast and say, please don't cook it in butter and oil. And you can really specify what you want to keep it lower. But you don't need to do that all the time. And especially if you're in a reverse and calories are higher, or you're just trying to lose a little bit of weight and you're not like too wrapped up in it, you maybe don't have to track all the time. Maybe you just want to go out and have an untracked meal every once in a while and just have fun and just be reasonable. If you're just reasonable about it, again, you're going to be in a good spot. It comes back to the same thing. Just because you're not tracking it doesn't mean just go crazy and have as much as you want of anything that you want. Just make reasonable choices. Eat until you feel full and just stop. Like, you don't have to just continue to eat just because it's there. There's no rule about that, and it's really about your own personal balance. And I think in the earlier stages, if you haven't really ever been doing a whole lot of tracking and you're trying to get used to it, then I really think it's beneficial to make sure you always track when you're going out, because you want to practice it and you want to build the habits and get a better understanding and create the knowledge base. If you've been doing it a long time, then you have a better understanding and you know macros better, and you know food and you know nutrition, and you have a good relationship with food. Then it makes it a lot easier to go out to eat and maybe not track it and just have a good time and know that you're in a decent spot and not worry about it so much. So it really kind of just depends on where you're at with things and where your mental space is and what kind of a training phase you're in. As always, there's no right or wrong answers. It's never black and white. And at the end of the day, it really needs to be about you and your balance and what you like and what you want and what's going to keep you happy and keep you moving forward. And if stressing out about tracking going out is going to create some bad mental positioning for you, then we need to be careful with that. But I do think it's wise to build that knowledge base first. So the biggest thing you don't want to do is get into a situation where you feel like, since you don't really know and you're not sure how to handle it, that you should just say screw it. That's what we really want to avoid. So anyway, hopefully this video helped somebody. If you have any questions, as always, please let me know in the comments below, and I will talk to you later.
I'm addicted to the love that you're giving. Every minute, every day I've been craving.